One Mic live in 1 minute. Welcome to the One Mic, One Voice show, building the collective conscious. Show that's created to give space where your voice, ideas, and informed opinions can be heard, appreciated, and debated. I am Michael Eric Owens. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you and yours. I'm going to try to start this show off, or I should say the new year off, on a very positive note. Um, with everything that's going on in our country today. We just had the commemoration um, of the January 6th insurrection, terrorist attack, however you want to wordsmith that. It was a somber day, a sad day, a day of reflection, and to have that at the start of a new year, along with the new variant and numbers going up, we are in some very challenging times and some very difficult moments where people are feeling lost. People don't know what to make of it. We've been going around and around with whether to wear a mask, whether to be vaccinated, and the pros and the cons, and the political arguments, and the pundits weighing in from either extreme. Yeah, people are confused and lost. I would never have imagined growing up in the time period that I did um, that we would see these days. But one cannot live in denial. One must face what lies before us. And this is where we're at. Democracy is on the line in this country. We've taken several steps back as far as voting rights and civil rights and human rights and women's rights and LGBTQ plus rights. I mean, we're in a very bad place. But I don't want to dwell on the negative because I think we are inundated with the imagery of what is wrong, what is the problem, who is the problem, and there is no solution. There is no peacemaker. There is no leadership. And sometimes when you can't look without, you have to look within. And today, I want to talk a little bit about how to be you in 2022. And I had posted this on Facebook and got a lot of comments and responses to that simple statement: be you in 2022. Um, it's a simple phrase, but very complex, um, very difficult to achieve. But we have a new start. Yes, a new year is a new start, and it's not only focusing on the present, but also the future. I had said many years ago that personal identity was the challenge of the 21st century. In this country, you could phrase that as who is the true American. Everything stems from the idea of knowing yourself, for understanding who you are. And this particular podcast is definitely not for egomaniacs, narcissists, sociopaths, definitely not for psychopaths. It's for the open minded, the self reflecting person who is looking to understand themselves and the world in which we live. The very definition of identity is understanding who you are and how do you fit within a given society or group. Who are you and what do you want to become? Those are the two central questions that we will look at. Who are you and what do you want to become? And this is very difficult because oftentimes we want to continue in the flow of life. We want to continue whether it's in the chaos or the drama or the even the mountaintop. We don't want to come down, but the reality of life is about ebb and flow. Life is about mountaintop and valley experience. To truly live life, there's some joy, but there's also some pain. There's some victory, but also some loss. And knowing thyself through all of that is our challenge. Truly knowing yourself. You've heard the phrase, well, you can never truly know anyone. However, knowing yourself is the greatest gift that you can give to yourself. Getting in shape, eating more healthy, and building positive relationships, all of that is good. It's good. But it doesn't matter if you don't know yourself. Who are you and what do you want to become? Okay. Hopefully you're hearing me now. Um, so, aren't we all becoming something? I would say, yes, we are. But what are we becoming? Are we becoming the best or worst version of ourselves? Because this journey does not end until the final hour. So we, between birth and death, we're on a journey. We are becoming something, either the best version or the worst version of ourselves. Nothing grows alone. Well, a simple plant needs sun and water and soil and nurturing, just like a young life needs food and shelter and guidance. None of us grow in isolation. That's the key point. We all have been shaped or socialized by our childhood experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And oftentimes, in life, it is those negative experiences, those negative outcomes that tend to stick with us the most. It's not the victories, it's not the celebrations, it's not the joy that we ride with. We ride with the negativity that's in the human DNA, and we have to fight that each and every day. So how we have been socialized, how your parents brought you up, how did your teachers treat you, what type of friends did you have growing up, were you accepted, rejected, ostracized? All of these things shape us into the person that we are. Were we nurtured by our mother? Was that period where we felt that connection to her? Were we guided by our fathers? Those are things that shape us. Those are things um, that really make us who we are. Who mentored us? Who showed us the proper way to live, to react, to interact? All of that. But in that, though, is a lot of trauma. Is a lot of trauma. All of us, from the most affluent to the poorest people on the planet, we have all dealt with trauma. Have you dealt with these traumas? So if I'm going to know who I truly am, I have to get in touch with that which I have come through, that which has shaped me, that which has taught me. See, some of us have just been taught wrong. There's no other way around it. You've been taught lies, you've been taught stereotypes, you have been taught that the other is different. Different is just different. It's not deficient, it's just different. But so we have been socialized. Have we dealt with this trauma? If not, you can't become the best version of yourself. If you have not dealt with those traumas, you are living in the past because trauma continues to affect us today. It's like a straitjacket. It's like you need to be a Houdini to get out of it. It's a straitjacket. You wear it around every day if you have not dealt with it. You are living in the past. This is the old version of yourself. You are driving forward. This is what it's like. You're driving forward, but yet you're looking in the rearview mirror. You can only get into an accident. You can only make poor decisions. You can only hurt yourself or hurt somebody else simply because you are the old version of yourself. Your trauma rules your life. You have to deal with your trauma. Maybe 2022 is simply that year for you to deal with your trauma. Maybe that's it. Maybe you don't need to do anything else. You just need to deal with your trauma. 2022. But for some of us, we've had this engagement. For some of us, we've come face to face with the reality in which we were socialized. And not only that, trauma just doesn't come from childhood experiences, it comes from adult experiences. And so, unless you are willing to face those traumas, you can never know who you truly are. Because trauma paralyzes us, it prevents us from exploration, from creativity, from self reflection. It paralyzes us and puts us in a stagnant place. We can't move beyond that. We can't grow. We can't get the sun. We can't get the nourishment. We can't get to self care because we are traumatized. And listen, folks, there are millions of people in America, in this world, that are just traumatized. They're paralyzed. They don't know how to respond to the larger world simply because they are ruled by their past. How to know oneself. You can never know yourself if you're always in this game of life, if you're always in the struggle, if you're always chasing something. I hear people all the time that say, you need a vision board and you need goals and you know what? I'm not going to speak against that. But if I'm always looking ahead, I'm never dealing with where I'm at right now. If I'm always looking for better, I'll never really embrace what I have right now. If I'm always in this game of one up person ship and I'm always trying to get to the next promotion or to make more money or to be more popular or more powerful or all of these personal goals, I am running away from who I am. You have to stop. You have to put on the brakes. You got to meditate. You got to take some time for yourself. You can only find who you are by looking and focusing internally. Internally. This is a one person's job. In some cases, we're going to talk about a little deviation here. But for the most part, it is an introspective look at the self. Who am I? Who am I? You see, only the humble, the pure of heart, the vulnerable, and the truthful person can be or do this introspectively. This is a sort of extra Jesus of the soul. I really have to look deep within myself to find myself. There's a version of you. You know this. You see it in your mind's eye. There's a version of you, and that version is not you right now. That version is what you want to become. But because of maybe your narcissism, your ego, maybe you're a gaslighter, maybe you're sociopathic, and you're too busy performing and playing the game to ever care about truly knowing you. And furthermore, knowing those around you, because these people, their goal in life is to display a false self to the world. They fool you, they trick you. Are you fooling anyone? Are you tricking anyone? Because if that is your MO, you'll never truly know who you are. And wouldn't that be a shame to go through life, all of its ups and downs and triumphs and failures and relationships, and to get to the end of your days and look in the mirror and not even know who that person is? Plenty of people do that. They die not even knowing who they are. That's probably the greatest tragedy of life. This internal scope of the self takes time. It takes time. This is not something you can accomplish in a few days because all of your life you've been running from this person. All of your life you've been afraid to face the deep trauma, the deep pain, the deep loss. All of your life you've been running. Do you think you're going to solve that in a matter of days? No, be patient. Don't be too hard on yourself. Your pain, most of your pain have not come by the hands of yourself, but by the hands of others. And even if some of it was self-inflicted, you deserve better. You deserve better. You deserve better. That's the truth. I know that's might be a platitude or however you want to define it, but you do deserve better. We all do. So be patient with this evolution. Don't don't be faint of heart. This is hard work. But if you want to be you in 2022, you have to go through this process. This process. Listen, folks, this is not easy, but you can do it. I have full confidence Why? Because you are human and you were created with the ability to change, to evolve, to grow. Folks, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Be you in 2022. I'm talking about a transformation, um, a new way of looking at life, looking at yourself, looking at others, a mind shift, a transformation of the intellect. Yeah, sort of growth that you've never seen before. Yeah, looking in the mirror and knowing that the person that is looking back at you is you for real. No lies, no deceit. Yeah, an overcomer. That's what you can truly be. That's what this year is all about. And I know, I'll speak for a minute. I know that we have some very difficult challenges. Election coming up this year. People are going to be on, opposite sides of how the country should go, the debacle in the Congress and the inability to work together. But that makes it down to the local and even to the corporate level where people are feeling not part of something. They're going into work or zooming into work every day and they feel like, man, I really don't matter. So I'm not saying that we're not trying to obtain this in the best circumstances. But sometimes out of it's like the diamond that's being created. It is out of that heat and that pressure, right? Yeah, that something beautiful comes out of it. Yeah, it takes that heat and that pressure to produce something beautiful. And the same for us. It is those when we honestly, now this is the key, when we honestly look at ourselves and we see our fragility and our vulnerability, when we see all of that and we're cool with it, yeah, that pressure, that heat, that trauma, yeah, that's what produces that beautiful, beautiful diamond. Let me give you some strategies to do this. Reduce life distractions. Reduce life distractions. It's very important because we're distracted by so much, by people, by the news, by negativity, by social media. If you really want to know yourself or be yourself in 2022, you have to remove or reduce the distractions. I'm not telling you not to listen to news or read out. I'm not saying that, but you have to strike a balance. And being able to strike a balance is understanding life itself. Understanding life itself is not about the latest news cycle. It's not about the tension that is going on between nation states. It's really not even about what you're experiencing on your job or in your career or in a relationship. No, it's not about that. It's about the human connection. And I'm going to get to that here in a moment. You see, number two, revisit your childhood, re examine personal and professional relationships. And what are the patterns that you see? What do you continue to do that takes you further away from who you truly are? Who do you allow in your life to drag you further away from who you are? What do you compromise in your life that prevents you from being who you are? You have to revisit those things, understand why those decisions were made. What are the unhealthy things, people, habits, environments that you currently embrace? These are questions you need to answer for yourself. And then you need to eliminate the unhealthy from your life. If you can't do this on your own, then you need to get help, professional help. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with seeing a counselor, a psychiatrist, or whatever, whoever you want, a mentor. You need help. Remember, I said nothing grows in isolation. Nothing worth becoming is done on its own. Dr. King did not become Dr. King because he was born Martin Luther King Jr. It was those around him, those in his life, the advice that he got, the mentorship that he had, the father that he had, the mother that he had, all of these things made him one of the greatest leaders that we've ever known. So if you need professional help, do not hesitate. Remember, maybe this is the year simply for you to deal with that. Once you have come to grips with who you truly are, you can determine what you want to become. Only in that order. You cannot determine what you want to become if you don't truly know who you are. It's impossible. Because again, you're stuck in the past. You're looking in the rearview mirror. You're paralyzed. You can't become who you are. You got to fix A before you can even concentrate on B. You see, this is the key point. And when I'm talking about becoming, let me make this very clear to you. I'm not talking about becoming wealthy, powerful, famous. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Becoming you has nothing to do with external forces or worldly achievements. See, this is the greatest mistake when we see people and we make determinations on who they are based upon how they dress, what type of education or position they hold, um, what they drive, right? How much money they might have. That's not becoming. Matter of fact, some of the most corrupt people and miserable people in the world are some of the richest. Remember, I said the greatest tragedy is going from birth to death and not really knowing who you are. So I'm not talking about becoming that. You see, all of these things will come if you really know who you are. To some degree, I'm not saying you can be whatever you want to be in this world because there's certain things that will prevent that. Discrimination, systemic racism, all types of stuff, right? But you can achieve things in your life if you truly know who you are. So that's irrelevant to becoming you in 2022. I know some of you have set out financial goals and career goals and doing it. I'm telling you, throw all that away. Throw it away. Because if you become who you truly are, all of those things will come to you. Let me say this. When you get in touch with the real you, your wants, your desires, your interests, and your very definition of success will change. What you thought was successful, what you thought you wanted, that was the old version. Because what you wanted before was trying to feed an ego, right? Of fragility. You wanted the money because you wanted to be seen by others. You wanted the popularity because you wanted the accolades. You wanted that job so that you could stand out. That's the old version of you. That's the trauma version of you. That's the version that's telling you you're not good enough unless you do this. You're not worthy unless you're in this clique. That's the old you. That's the paralyzed you. That's the you with the straitjacket on. That's the you looking in the rearview mirror. Because the true self looks at life completely different. Success is defined differently. What do you want to become? Let me just briefly say to you how I define this. A person that knows him or herself in correlation to all others. If I truly want to know me, then I have to understand not just the world, but those who are in the world. I have to see them. I have to truly know them. Because life is not about my simple goals and desires and achievements. It's about the interaction with life. It's about my brother and my sister being their keeper. It's not about self. See, that's the old version. That's the way that we have been taught, that you need to get yours. But that's not really who we are. We were not created to be beings that say, I need to get mine regardless of anyone else. And no matter how I get it, as long as I get it, it's right. No, that's not why we were created. So I'm talking about becoming a person that understands their role on the stage of life. In other words, I understand that I am only part of the masterpiece of life, an equal part now. And for my part, what will I give? What do I bring to the table? You are being invited to the dinner party of life. What will you bring? What will you give? Your finest dish? This is a crucial question. You see, some give pain, hurt, evil, lies, deception, deceit, and the list goes on because of what they have become. They've never dealt with the trauma. They've never dealt with the pain. They've never truly understood themselves or others around them, because you can't understand others until you understand yourself. You can't love others until you love yourself. You can't forgive others until you forgive yourself. You can't encourage others until you encourage yourself. You can't give what you don't have. I mean, if you walked up to me and said, I need $1 million, I can't give it to you. I don't have it. You cannot give what you do not have. It starts with you. What will you give? I hope you will give, above all, is love, empathy, kindness, truth, comfort, joy, peace, encouragement. I hope you give all of that and seek peace in all that you do. Have I just described you? I hope I have. I hope I have. But in most cases, I did not, because we're so stuck. We're so stuck in what we want people to perceive us to be than what we truly are. It's a masquerade party, life is, where we're walking around with all these different masks on. And for corporate masks, for the hanging out mask, for the home mask, for the parent mask. We're in a masquerade party because we don't want to take off the mask, because if we take off the mask, we have to deal with the individual under the mask. And some of us frankly believe that if I'm really that person, people are not going to like me. If I'm not the funny and smiling person all the time, if I show that I have some hurt and some pain and some depression, anxiety, they really don't want to be around me. It's that fear. But unless you deal with all of that, which I just mentioned, you cannot be you. And if being you causes you to lose people in your life, you're better off, because that goes back to the negativity I was talking about earlier in the show. Be you in 2022. What will you give? Let me give you some philosophical questions here. Why are you here? Why were you born? You see, we were not born with technology or money or power. We were born with emotions, fears, hopes, desires, and the ability to love. We were not born to grow up and make millions of dollars or to run Fortune 500 companies. We were born to love and to share and to care and to help. We are humans. We're not savages. We're human beings that were put on this planet for each other. Not for self, but each other, for the good of each other. That's why we're here. We're here for each other. I'm not here for myself, for my own self gratification. I'm here for you. And you are here for me. That's the foundation of life. So when we see the rhetoric that's coming out of Washington and local government, and when we see the strife and the tension and all, let us remember why we are here. We are here for each other, not the I complex. Our emotions. You know, we live in a world where if you're an emotional person, somehow you're looked down upon. You're weak. If you're an empathetic person, you're naive. But these are the things we were born with. They're innate to us, not technology. That's a man's creation. Money, that's a man's creation. Okay? The elusiveness of power, that is a creation. Right? So what is more? What has less value? I say more value is the things that we were born with. That's what should be honored. That's what should be embraced. Not that I have a six-figure job and so now I'm respected and I'm loved. How about I'm respected and I'm loved because I'm an empathetic person? I give to the poor. I try to help people. I try to understand people. I'm a loyal friend. I care about people. I sacrifice for people. How about that being some qualities that we applaud if we want to build a better world? That's it. In 2022, with everything that's going on, with all of the problems in this world, can we build a better world? The only way to start building a better world is to build a better you, because people comprise the world. I mean, how great would it be for people to look in the mirror and say, how can I know myself? How can I be a better person? If we all did that, we don't have to work at building a better world. We would make a better world. But again, you can't build a better world. You can't know yourself if you are stuck, right, in the old version of you. The old version has a ideological slant, religious slant or not, okay? Looking at the world in a stereotypical way is the old version. Believing lies, misinformation, seeking division, not unity. That's the old version, because the old version has been taught that life is this way. And if you want to be successful, if you want to be valued, this is what you must do. Well, that's the lie. No, no, we were born into this world to show the very emotions that we were given: love, peace, joy, sadness, empathy. If we want to build a better world, we have to build a better self. You must decide what you will become. This is completely up to you. It has nothing to do with the external. This has to do with you. You control whether or not you know your true self. If you want to be the best friend you can be, know yourself, right? You want to be the best supervisor you can be, know yourself. You want to be successful in business, know yourself. Because all of these things, knowing yourself is a benefit to everyone around you, not just you. You must decide what you will become. This is your decision. Because only then can you be, get this, folks, I really want you to understand this. This is your decision. You must decide what you will be, because only then can you be you in 2022. Because history will speak of us. Somewhere in the distant future, a scribe will reach down deep into the archives of our time, and what will she find? Will she discover that we overcame our differences? Will she find that out of many we became one? Or will she find that we saw nothing and remained a divided peoples? Yes, history will speak of us. Huh?
It's blank.
You don't hear nothing?
There's no song or nothing.
Well, I got it taped here, so.
Okay.
But you don't hear anything?
No, you just heard a speaker voice, and then it was blank, and then I heard it like a yeah. I just recorded us.
Hmm?
It just recorded us saying that.
Oh.
Now I can hear it.
Oh. I don't know.